So yesterday, I went to the stadium and you had your banner still up there, like you currently playing. So how does it feel to be back in Nashville, like the city you helped build, the city where you're a legend? So how it feels to be back here?
Well, Keion, I never left. That's due to my wife. When I finished my playing days in Dallas in 2005, I came back to Nashville and tried to figure out what was next. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Was kind of lost in transition from becoming a football player to just being a regular guy and dealing with that identity crisis. So she was pregnant with my youngest son at the time, Eric. We loved Nashville so much because of the goodwill, the opportunities here. The city was growing, and we were considered the first, I guess, founding fathers of NFL football in Nashville or Middle Tennessee to have retired. So I said, why not, stay and build my relationships here? And I've been living in Nashville for the last 24 years.
What made you take this job at Tennessee State, man? Yeah, other schools I'm pretty sure reached out to you. You went to Ohio State, so.
Well, no, this is the only school that offered me I wasn't looking for an opportunity. Prior to taking this job, I had my own wealth management business. I also been in the entertainment business as an actor, doing stuff on stage, in front of the camera, commercials, and so forth. So I was building my resume and my career in those two areas. So that was my focus. I have a working relationship with the president, with the AKA Foundation, and she called me one day asking would I consider being the next head coach for a team. And before I politely said no, I did some investigating into it, talked to my wife about it, talk about happy life, happy wife. I told her this ridiculous idea of me being the head coach at Tennessee State. What do you think about that? And I'm thinking, she's going to say, well, you're too busy for it. It's a terrible idea, and blah, blah, blah. And this is off the heels of Deion getting the job at Jackson State. She says, well, why not? I think you'd be a great head coach. You at least owe it to yourself to look into it. So I did that. And as an exercise, I said, let me go down this road as if I were going to take the job. How would I build it? Who would I call? Who's in my staff? What are the things I need to look for? What does a championship budget look like versus what they already have? What needs to be enhanced and so forth? Just doing all my due diligence. Once I did that, and as I got to each phase of, well, okay, here's the budget, check. Here is they're willing to increase this, they're willing to give this, they're willing to do this. And it was like, wow. And I started thinking of, well, if I had my own program, how would I try to build it? And it just raised something deep in my spirit, like, oh, wow, this is exciting. Like, this is really exciting. Where on earth do you have the opportunity to jump into a position where you go literally from the back to the front? Never had any coaching experience. I played the game at a high level. I never coached. But I believe that if I surround myself with the right people, we can be successful. And here I am. I made that decision, and so far it's so good. We didn't win last week, but we're going to try to resolve that.
So you say you didn't coach. So what inspired you to start coaching and jump straight into the college level instead of going to high school or maybe D2?
D2? Well, again, this day we offered me the job. So I wasn't actively seeking coaching, saying, hey, let me start in, high school or Little League. I just jumped right in this opportunity. I felt like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I wasn't looking to go to Ohio State or Cincinnati or jump into coaching. This has to fit everything that I built up so far. I'm not getting rid of my businesses. I'm not stopping what I'm doing there. It's going to look different, but I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing up to this point in a different capacity. I have partners. I have a support system that can help. So it's the perfect fit. I'm 15 minutes from my house, 5 minutes from my son's high school. I don't miss too many of his games. In fact, I'm recruiting him. So all of those things allowed me to be more at home, to have more stability in that perspective, and try to win some ball games and build a program.
Yes, sir. So you're not just any coach, you're a coach at an HBCU, a historical black college. So what does that mean to, like, you're one of the leaders of the campus. What does that mean to you?
Wow, it's a huge honor. HBCU football is special. The pageantry, the fanfare, the energy, game days, the history. A storied program like Tennessee State produced 2 NFL Hall of Famers, a slew of NFL talent, great entrepreneurs, activists, you name it, has come through this school that has changed the world. Is an honor. And now to have my name along the lines of some of the great teachers and head coaches and track coaches and coaches from other sports, to be in that list is pretty remarkable.
Definitely. So with one game under your belt, as you said, how would you describe your HBCU experiences with that? It's being a band, the tailgate. How would you describe it?
Well, I didn't. If I was tailgating, that would be a problem. You know. But again, it's the fanfare, the passion, the love of the game, the bands. I paid attention to it in between our timeouts. Like, wow, this is a cool environment. You know, this is something I've gone to as a fan, but to now be the main attraction in terms of the game and the head coach, it's pretty cool. It didn't end the way that I hoped it would, but you know, in those L's there are lessons. It shows you who you are and where you need to go and how do you need to address it, how do you need to attack those weaknesses and make them strengths, and that's the beautiful part about it.
So at the Undefeated, ESPN Undefeated, we're working on a project. It's called Black History Always. And you being a head coach at the HBCU, what type of legacy do you want to leave as a head coach at Tennessee State?
Well, one, a winning head coach. One, two, winning not so much as on the field, of course, that, but building a culture of excellence, building a culture of winning, and that won't be decided until 5, 6, 10 years from now, when these young men go on to have families and go on to become businessmen, to go on to become politicians, agents of change in our community, in our society, and taking the principles that were passed on to me through my parents, through other coaches, through other mentors that I'm blessing them with, seeing them continue that and put their own thumbprint on it and go from there. You know, the great Eddie Robinson at Grambling State University is known for being, you know, one of the winningest coaches in the history of college football. But just the men that he has produced, the fruits of his labor, the fruits of his discipline. Men go on and rave about how wonderful of a mentor he was, how much of a father figure he was. That to me is success. So of course, you know, I want to win. I'm a competitor. I want to produce winning seasons. I want to win championships. But to have these young men become better men, better people, better fathers, better husbands, better entrepreneurs, whatever profession they decide to go into after the game of football, and they can take the lessons that they've learned here to do that, and through our coaching staff and myself, then that's victory.
So what are some of those lessons that you want some of your players to learn from you?
Through their mistakes. I mean, a great lesson is understanding discipline, understanding your controllables. You know, you control your attitude, your effort, and your focus. Focusing on the things that don't require talent, a belief, passion, teachability, initiative, coachability, teamwork, perseverance. Those are the things that I want them to learn and carry with them. How to persevere through adversity. When you're presented with adversity, and it will come time and time again, that lesson will come up until you master it. Instead of running away from it, you see it through. Those are the things that I want them to understand, because you're going to deal with that. As a husband in your marriage, you're going to run into adverse situations. How do you communicate that? You're becoming a leader. Just today, I had a great conversation with one of my defensive players who's a leader. And there are some ways I think he can communicate better with his teammates in terms of leadership. There's motivation and intimidation and fear, but there's also leadership and compassion, and to uplift and to support and to encourage, to embolden, to strengthen, you know, the choice of words and approach and how you use it. And I said that could be another approach, another way. Instead of being confrontational in that way, you still confront the problem, but just in a different frame. And you're bringing people along versus separating them and making an adversary on the team. So those are the things that I wanted to impart onto him.
So your last game was on NFL Network. You got another game coming up against your man Deion Sanders, and that's on ESPN3. So how do you feel about HBCUs getting recognized, getting that national television? You know, your players getting recognized from NFL scouts. How do you feel about that?
I think it's wonderful. I think what Coach Sanders and myself were able to do is to bring a light from a national perspective on HBCUs, to show the talent, to show the universities, the brand of the universities, what they have to offer. You know, you look at any football game on Saturday, and you'll see commercials, and they're not commercials about the football team. It's commercials about the university, about what they produced, the amount of people that have come through there, the colleges that they're known for. And that's a great opportunity for people to see what Tennessee State is known for. They're not known just for the band or football or basketball, but agriculture, the business school, the different colleges that are here, the different people that have come through that aren't involved in athletics. So that's a great way for us to show, hey, you can still get a quality education, become a quality human being, and do great things by coming to an HBCU. And oh, by the way, they're building great things for the future. So to bring a light to that and to our athletes and give them the platform to show their skills is remarkable. So I think it's a great thing, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. One of the biggest names that came out of Tennessee State is Oprah Winfrey. A lot of people don't know she went to Tennessee State.
I know.
But what type of influence or impact do you believe this game can have? You know, what do you want viewers to see? What do you want potential recruits to see when they watch this game on Sunday?
I want them to be entertained. I want them to understand that there are different ways to get to your end goal. You don't necessarily have to go to PWIs to get there. You can come to an historical black college or university to get a quality education and still get to the next level if that's what you want to do. We both have great staffs that can teach you how to do that at the highest level. And I want them to be entertained by a great game. You know, win, lose, or draw. We want to put a game on that people will enjoy and that they can watch and be inspired by and say, hey, you know what, I didn't know about Tennessee State. I didn't know about Jackson State. I'm now a fan. I'm now going to go and look at what's theirs. I want to be a part of that experience.
So what makes Tennessee State unique? Or how do you plan on making it even more unique throughout the
Well, Tennessee State is unique in the fact that it's in Nashville, Tennessee. And Nashville is arguably one of the hottest cities in the world, not in the country, in the world. Top 25 places to visit, according to Forbes magazine. Outside of the walls of Tennessee State is a city that has grown in entrepreneurship and healthcare and construction and so many different industries that there's a plethora of opportunities for graduates to get into, and they're always looking for minorities, not just to get a job, but to build businesses. So it's a great opportunity for kids to come here and after you get your degree, step in the door of experience instead of going to obscure place to get your degree and then having to travel to Chicago or Philadelphia or Dallas where the cost of living is high. It's reasonable here in Nashville, Tennessee. We're only 15 minutes from the airport. We're surrounded by, 8 different states. You know, we're centrally located. No state tax. Let me say that in the camera. No state tax. No state tax.
Yeah.
You find out real quick.
Yeah.
You save your money goes a long way here. So that's what makes us unique. What makes us unique is a melting pot of culture. Over the last 15 years, we've had 60 people per day moving to Nashville with a net of 40. So it's diversity coming from Chicago, coming from St. Louis, coming from Alabama, Texas, California. You know, we're getting this different, diverse group of people here. It's not just country music. It is truly a metropolitan city.
So you played along with one of the HBCU legends and Steve McNair. What do you think his thoughts would be if he just seen you at an HBCU and just seeing his journey to actually being a coach of HBCU?
He would laugh. He would laugh and he would probably said, "Oh my God, 2-7, what have you got yourself into?" He called me 2-7. But I think he would be proud, and I know that he probably would come over and work with my quarterbacks. You know, Steve was an urban myth, you know, in 1994, and prior to YouTube and being able to pull up highlights of him, it was word of mouth. His reputation preceded him, and you know, you can embellish the facts of, wow, this dude threw for 1,000 yards in one game. You can't tackle him. He's like a magician. And, you know, you said, well, we got to see it. Well, I did see it. And he would extend the play, you know, run to the sideline, look, check his watch, spin back around, wave to the crowd, you know, throw up the hooks, you know, it was a cue, and throw a touchdown. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 or 8 touchdowns in one game. It was amazing to watch. And he was the ultimate warrior. And it was a privilege and an honor to play with Steve, the late, great Steve McNair.
So you got a game coming up against a man named Coach Prime. He's a myth, a legend, but he also goes by Deion Sanders. So what are your expectations heading into that game? How are you preparing for that game?
Well, I'm doing it as we speak, and it presents some challenges for us. They're very athletic. Coach Sanders, he preaches discipline. They're locked in, they're focused. Defensively, they're very extremely physical, and it's going to be a challenge for us, you know, to withstand that for 4 quarters. They play with a great deal of energy and enthusiasm that has to be matched, and it comes from Deion. Offensively, they have the potential, an offense that can put up 40, 50 points. It didn't show it in the first game, but typically teams get better from week 1 to week 2, and that's what I anticipate from this offense. They have playmakers all over the field. His son is a premier 5-star, 4-star quarterback running his offense that he ran in high school, so he's very familiar and very comfortable with the play calling. He has mastery of that. So that's going to present some challenges for us, but one that we welcome and that we look forward to.
Yeah. So what is success to you at Tennessee State? What does that look like for you?
Success for me at Tennessee State is to win, is to, again, produce men of excellence, to leave a legacy that we've done some great things here, you know, for building facilities, hopefully a new stadium, something that's sustainable within student housing and academics, getting kids to graduate on time with meaningful degrees. That's what success looks like for me at Tennessee State.
From an HBCU student, we really appreciate what you're doing, man, for HBCUs, even though I go to Hampton. But
that's all right. Pirate, right?
Pirates.
That's
yes.
right. That's right. Yes,
so
sir.
I really appreciate what you do for HBCUs,
Thank you.
man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.